Greeting fellow modelers, let's look at the J-20, the mighty dragon, this from the Scissor and Plane build series. Now, it looks very simple, yes, but let me tell you, it is anything but. Let's dive in and demystify construction. Here we have the J-20, this 100 scale. The first thing we're going to do is the main fuselage. The top here is just one piece. And it's important that once we cut this part out, as well as the forward fuselage that contains the cockpit, we're going to shape the model. And to shape the model, we're using a brush handle, or in this case, I have a clamp handle. And I am shaping it compared to what I have seen in the drawings and database online. Here you see I'm putting in a multiple bend. And now we're going to tackle the jet exhaust area. And you see I am fine tuning it, the left and the right exhaust, and of course painting. Nice. Now, once you get into the habit of doing the painting, we're going to now put the joint strip. That will take the forward fuselage. And this we're now going to build. Now, pay attention. The straight edge is what's highly important when we do this model. So here we're cutting the lower section out. These will allow the model to be bent. Now all this I've seen just looking on the actual model, so that's where I take my cue from. We form the basic angle, and here is the top of the fuselage. Here you see those are my joint strips. Now, important, paint the edges. Always get to the mantra. Now the top is curved for a fuselage section. Here you see I'm doing a nose. Now to maintain that straight knife-like edge of the forward fuselage, we're going to glue it onto a strip of paper. This I found worked for me, and to get it straight, we're using our steel rule here just to make sure everybody falls in line, just like that. And then we put in several cuts here to take the curve of the nose at the front. We repeat the same process on the other side to make sure we get it straight. Once those are set, then we put in our joint strips on the inside. And this worked for me quite well. Lovely. There you go. Now we're going to join the lower half, and the lower half will bend to join the straight edge of the upper half. In doing so, we get the curve really nice. Now, the lower half tends to have this curve up at the tip where the radome is. So, that's it. Look at that. I love how it looks. Now let's join it to the main fuselage. We put small cuts in it so that it's not too sharp an angle, and we just slowly join in position, just like that. Now let's do the lower wing panel. Again, it's a matter of shaping and joining. Here we cut out, but we leave parts for it to join. We take care of the tail area. Nice. Then we're going to put a curve where it would join the lower main fuselage. Paint the edges, and now we're going to join it on that very tip. That's the first part we're going to make the joint. Once that is secure, then we can then finish gluing the leading edge. Of course, pressing onto a flat surface, just like that. Then we join the leading edge extension, and then we can join the rest of the fuselage body. Now the reinforcement that we're going to put in, it's more like plate by ear because it's not 100%, but it helps to hold the general shape of the model. Slide it in, check, and we just use small tack of glue, nothing to hold it in place fully and finally. It's just enough to maintain the shape. And now we'll do the lower fuselage. Of course, we're going to treat it like what we did with the main cockpit area. We are going to just shape. Once again, painting the edges, then we shape. Okay, so we bend just below the main landing gear area, and we just check on the other side, right? And it's no full crease, it's just slight bend. We make that dent for the engine inlet. We just check out where that reinforcement is, and we're going to just put a small cut in it. We mark the area, the cut there, that's to accommodate the profile spar. And then we glue together as a unit. Nice. You see how that's coming together? We just make sure to do the rear, and then we're going to just put into place and check the fitting. Once we get that done, we're going to glue the leading edge and then the intake before. So we're going to put the jet intake in, and that's also to retain the shape at the front. Okay, so here's the thing, cut it slightly smaller than what's indicated on the plan, so it will help. And glue into position as you see in the video. We then put on our lower main fuselage, pop everything into place, and glue accordingly to the edges. Nice. Look at that. You see how it come together? We then make sure integrate everyone. And take your time in doing this. Its priority is to get the shape. Let us complete the final look by putting in the formwork near the trailing edge of the main wings. So here you see I'm cutting out the formwork. Please just watch the video and you will see the proper angle and the proper way to install. Do a fitting, and it will just slide literally into position. Just like that. Looking good. So let's just deal with the canards at the front. First things first, it is very straightforward to do the canards, yes? However, once we finish doing them, we need to make sure to paint the edges as usual. After we're finished, use the steel rule to bend so it's not sharp at the front. And then we are going to glue the canards on at, say, probably a 5-degree angle up, tilted up. And then we just make sure they're both aligned, not only from the plan view, but from the front. So that's it, really. So now it's time for the canopy. The canopy here in the kit, when you download it, it's blue. I just simply happen to paint it gold as time go by. So at some point, you're going to see it change. But here you see, I'm using my ballpoint tool to make sure to put a little curve in. Then I join the parts on the inside using strips. Use a ballpoint tool to smoothen out the curve. And then we just attach in place. Nice. It really came out lovely and I quite love it. So now that we have that out of the way, let's look on putting on the ventral fin. Now remember, it's going to be just like what we did with the canards. The only thing is we have to remember that they cant outwards, approximately 5 to 6 degrees outward. You see me reinforce the fins by putting in the toothpick and just gluing in place. Same thing repeated to the other side. So this way we make sure that we have them solid and they won't just pop off. Now I did something different. I added the wing slat at the front, and it's optional. It's just that it added a bit of realism to the paper model here. You see I just put the cuts where there are lines already, and I gently score the front, both above and below. Not cut them off, just score them. And then I bend them down to represent the leading edge slat. Although I'm showing you the engine exhaust here, you are now currently seeing me just cutting the fins, the dorsal fins, and you see I put a slight curve in the cut where the insignia is. That is for later. I need to put it aside because I was building all over the place at this point, so forgive me on that. Well, let's get to building the exhaust, yeah? So first off, I cut the nozzle out, and then I'm just tracing here. As you can see, this is to make my very own join tab. So I put that on. This tab I've just created would be to join to the fuselage when I'm completed doing the work on it. Here, it's quite ingenious actually how the designer Bruno did the exhaust. And here I'm just putting the exhaust in. This part here, I'm going to now put into the outer nozzle exhaust. And that's how they do it. Remember, in everything, I'm just painting again, reinforce the paint that I did before, slightly darker color to represent the engine exhaust, paint the edges, and then slide into place, just like that. And then I put the other in, and there we have it. And it really held. So back to now the dorsal fins, all right? They cant out by about, say, another 5 degrees. So just like how we treated the ventral fin, same apply to the dorsal fin. This is how we get the model to be looking really sharp, spiffy, if you will. And now let's look on the engine inlet panels. You can tell me what it's called. I don't know if it's called chines panel. But anyway, here we are. We cut them out. And you can tell what side belongs to, but we're using our ballpoint tool and our brush handle to form the detail for it, and then we just glue into position. Just carefully move and just let it hold on its own, and not a problem. Repeat to the other side and you're good to go. I love how the mighty dragon is coming together. Now, these raised surface areas, I'm just showing you quickly. We just cut out, we fold almost in half. We use you can use a toothpick, or if you have a tool like what you see here, to just mold it and then just put into place. Here I'm just showing you the location so that you don't have to go searching. And just on the inboard of the ventral fins. There you go. Good. And now the landing gear and nose wheel and the gear door bays. I just really like how it just finally came together. After all of this, I then painted and knocked it down with matte varnish so that it looks like its original counterpart. It's not shiny, it's not glossy, it's matte. Here you see I'm just doing the details for the nose wheel. That's why I sort of zoomed in. And then the toothpick I use, just cut it, join it, and then cure everything with super glue. Paint the edges of the wheel for a little more realism. And look at the location where the wheel is. This extra cut I've made in the landing gear door bay is because of the original that I saw on Google. And the same way we did the nose wheel, we're going to just do the main gear and the landing gear door bays for the main gear. And that's it. Mind you, I split the landing gear main door bays into two. Here, I need to also show you that it's at an angle. So once you finish do the wheel. Okay, we're going to bend that at a slight angle. I could have used solder wire at this point. I don't know why I used toothpick. Maybe it's just habit. And then put the hole there. I hope it's clear in the video how I got this done. Listen, this kit, like I tell you, it is a beauty to build. The most complicated part I think you would have is the shaping of the fuselage top, main fuselage, and the bottom. But once you get those out of the way, you're pretty good to go. And that's the model. Okay, don't forget, once these dry, you paint the edges. Okay, add a little realism. And then when you're finished, if you so choose, you can knock down the glossiness of your paper by using matte varnish. Here's a little addition that's not in the kit, and that is a nose forward looking infrared radar or camera or whatever is underneath that pod in the front. Here I'm just putting it into position. I just made it myself. It's just to indicate that that's supposed to be there, and then I painted it metallic blue. And that's it. And there you go, your very own J-20. Really nice model. Once completed, I just want to thank first and foremost each and every one of these Patreon members who helped make this possible. Without your guys' help, this would not be possible. So until then, my friends, if you like what you see, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Till then, walk good, be gentle to yourself, and above all, my friends, one love.